I know people are getting tired of hearing about Donald Trump's cognition and the fact that he is in decline. Mainly because there's fatigue over that having been said about Joe Biden over and over and over and over and over. Well, yesterday on this weird News Nation panel with Chris Cuomo, and for some reason Bill O'Reilly was there, and Stephen A. Smith and James Carville. It was just what is happening over on that network? Very weird. But Stephen A. Smith asked Donald Trump about what he has done to Harvard University, trying to hold Harvard hostage and extort them. And Donald Trump, look, there's no other way to explain what's happening to Donald Trump other than he is nearly an 80-year-old man and he is slipping away. Because the answer he gave is just, it's not an answer to the question. It's him trying to find his way in real time and falling right on his painted face. It is very, very bizarre, very alarming, very dangerous to have a president of the United States who has no idea what in the single is going on around him at any given time. And the fact that he has so many nurses around him to gather him when he wanders off, when he has so many people who are actually running the government who he pulled from the Heritage Foundation, the authors of Project 2025, it makes it even more dangerous. They want to bring their Christo-fascist nonsense to the mainstream and have it funded and endorsed by the United States government. Watch this question about Harvard, where Donald Trump veers off the road and starts talking about Harlem and black people supporting him and black people from Harlem going to Harvard to protest for him. What?
Time. Mr. President, thank you for your time. It's interesting that you brought up Harvard, because when people think about Harvard, what they're basically talking about is they're asking, what do you say to those who view your actions as an attack on academic freedom rather than a defense of fairness? What do you say to that?
Well, I say this. We had riots in Harlem, in Harlem, and frankly, if you look at what's gone on, and people from Harlem went up and they protested, Stephen, and they protested very strongly against Harvard. They happened to be on my side. You know, I got a very high black vote. You know that. Very, very high black vote. It was a very great compliment to me. I did criminal justice reform. I did opportunity zones for one of the greatest economic deals ever for the black and Hispanic community. I got tremendous. They agree with what I'm doing with respect to Harvard.
Somebody make it make sense. Somebody explain it. Maybe I'm too daft to understand the brilliant 12-dimensional chess that the genius dear leader is playing right now. But that was a bunch of nonsense. That was excruciating and dangerous. There were riots in Harlem when asked about Trump and what he did to Harvard. Riots in Harlem. People were protesting in Harlem, and then people went from Harlem to Harvard. You know, Harlem is in New York City, Manhattan, it's north of Central Park, and they went from there to Boston, to Cambridge, Massachusetts, where Harvard is, to protest there in honor and in service to Donald Trump, because Donald Trump, how did he phrase it? I got a very high black vote. I got a very high black vote. If someone could explain this and make this make sense, I would appreciate it. I think I'm correct here. I think Donald Trump is in a dangerous position mentally. He is demented. We already know he's a sociopath. He is psychopathic in the way that he operates, zero empathy, lack of concern for other people. All of these are hallmarks of that psychological affliction, that condition. I'm not a therapist, I'm not an expert, but it seems commonsensical to me, does it not? Anyway, there was another moment that I briefly want to talk about, and that is Bill O'Reilly. I don't know why this sexual abuser has been invited by, well, I do know why, because he was invited by Chris Cuomo, another person with his problems as a sex pest, sticking up for his sex pest brother and also having his own issues, inviting this panel of doofuses to opine about the American political system, even asking Donald Trump questions. And this is a question from Bill O'Reilly to Donald Trump asking about the problem with the economy. And Donald Trump's answer is just remarkable.
Look, it's got to stabilize by this time, fall. Because remember, if it doesn't stabilize this time next year, Democrats may win the midterms. So there is risk here, big risk.
That's true. It is true. And I just think that I'll be able to convince people how good this is. This is what other countries have done to us. We've been the laughing stock and the whipping post. We've been ripped off by every country practically in the world.
I'm going to be able to convince people how good this is. You don't have to convince someone that chocolate cake is good because it's good. If things were running smoothly and going well right now, there would be no messaging necessary because they would know it when they went to the grocery store. They would know it with their paychecks. They would know it with the money they have left over at the end of the month because they didn't have to have it pissed away on prices of things that are high because of your policies, Donald Trump. There's no need to sell things that are good. No messaging required. And Bill O'Reilly, I love the framing of the question. It's going to be a real bad thing if Democrats get back into control. I hate to break it to you, Billy. That is a welcome addition to our current system right now would be Democrats in charge, because then the adults would be running the show and not the children, not the cult members. Anyway, what do you think? Did you watch this? I don't know who watches this. I don't know where you watch News Nation. 714-576-4054. And of course, as always, you can email me daily@dollemore.com. Also, a great way to communicate is just to comment below and have a conversation in the comments. It'll help the algorithm to share this content with new subscribers, which something's kind of strange. I mentioned it in a previous video that I didn't lose subscribers yesterday, but I gained like 8, and normally it's hundreds and hundreds. I was losing steadily throughout the day. Don't know if it's YouTube deleting bots or counts or don't know. But if you're not subscribed, please subscribe. I would appreciate it very much. If you want to help support this work, help me produce these videos, reaching the tens of millions of people, hopefully continuing to be tens of millions of people. You can click the join button below, become a channel member right here on YouTube for $1.99 a month, or you can go over to patreon.com/IDoubtIt podcast. Both those are fantastic ways. Follow me on social media. I am at Dollemore, just about everywhere. I'll see you next time. Be genuine. Take care of one another.